Hello everyone, I'm Vijay for Graceunlimited, and we take this fellowship beyond the point where we left it last time. And in my last message, I was talking about unconditional love, and during that time, there were issues that we picked up, and one of them was about uh, when God makes strength in our weaknesses. So I needed to explain these things a bit more because I felt that some people may still be held up by their perception and would not be able to accept the perception that Bible provides. So let me say one thing before we start this chapter upon unconditional love, that here our ways are not God's ways, because as heavens are high, so are His ways higher than our ways. Now, when we think about things, we are thinking in a limited way, whereas God is not a limited being, He is an unlimited being, therefore His ways are unlimited as well. The point where we stop thinking, His thinking goes beyond those points. So I need to be very clear about these things which we discuss, so that people are more aware that the perspective that they keep about things is not always right. Now, let me tell you that when the Bible is talking about that God is making strength in our weaknesses, it actually means that when we are weakest, we are strongest. Why? Because you would see that the people who are looking vulnerable are actually persevering such conditions, and they have the endurance, and one can see that it isn't so easy to be in that state of affairs and be victorious, but these people are kicking and they are doing well sufficiently and managing their affairs under whatever conditions they are. So we must always think about these things as well, not just keep thinking about healing people and thinking that probably because of sickness they are under some sort of curse. No, actually God is having His ways established through the through these areas as well, because He is having an objective, and that objective I'm going to put before you into this domain, so that you can understand that whatever I am trying to tell you is the perspective which is also there, and it's up to you to be able to understand, accept it or reject it. I would take an example of people who come back from the war, and people in our infantry. Sometimes they look vulnerable because they are badly injured, and as a result of getting badly injured, sometimes the injury is so bad that they cannot go back to the army and continue with their duties. But for being brave, for being able to endure and face the enemy, the army officials who are injured are actually not called cowards, they are called war heroes, because they have taken the brunt of enemy's attack upon themselves, and also the bullets upon them, as a result of which these people who were with them were safe and secure and are able to stand on their feet to take the challenge forward. So it is not that these people have taken the attack on themselves, so they are the people who were saved were cowards. No, but because these people had not allowed the bullets to reach them, therefore these people have fought bravely, I would say, and also because of them other people were secure. So this is one very important thing that we must understand that in God's kingdom, which I am talking about, is not only the kingdom of heaven, but this earth on which we dwell as well is also under His power and His control. Therefore, whatever we are doing over here, from the biblical perspective, if you can connect, the Bible is also talking about the same thing. Now, Bible is saying that, okay, these people who have taken the brunt of attack of the enemy upon themselves, in their weaknesses, God is making strength. So, obviously, a person, if you take the example of a soldier who comes back from the war, he is given a lot of support from the governments, and he is given a lot of benefits from the government, and he is never allowed to totally succumb to his condition. He's carried, he's lifted, and also awarded for the brave efforts that he put in. So I would say that he is not a coward, he's a war hero, and we all respect him. So that's how the actual scenario is also. People who are weak, they are not cowards, they are vulnerable, because the attack which was faced by them, which made them in that condition, that allowed other people to stand on their feet firm. So we must always know that every person who is vulnerable or weak is not under some kind of a curse, because many a times in the churches I've seen that they have not encouraged people who are physically challenged to come up on the pulpit and preach, because they feel that a sick person is probably under some sort of a curse. But they are absolutely wrong, because God is not watching your physical walk, He is watching your spiritual walk. Everything connected to your physical is not connected to God's approach, because He is spirit, and therefore He is also wanting to see how spiritually strong you people are. So that is the reason why He's watching your walk and the spiritual walk that you have, and blessing you in accordance to it. And therefore it's also given in the Bible that He's not seeing how physically good looking or how strong you are. He is actually more interested in how your heart is. You may not be a very beautiful person, but if your heart is beautiful, that is what God is interested in. Let me tell you a little bit about this from a blind man's perspective as well. If you see a blind man, he is actually not able to see the physical beauty of an individual. So what he does is he touches the individual and he gets vibes, and if his vibes are good, then he is going to always like that person. Why? Because this is the area where we all always fail. When we look at the physical angle, we look at the physical aspect and the beauty, then we always fail, because then we come to know later on that our judgment was absolutely wrong. That person whom we judged to be a good person did not meet our expectations. But the blind man generally makes the right decision, because he doesn't go by the physical aspects, he goes by his vibes. So that is one area that needs to be thought about. And therefore all the people who have taken the brunt of attack upon themselves are the people who is actually who are serving God's purpose, because He wanted the other people who have not as yet submitted themselves before Him to be standing okay, so that they can move forward and then later on realize that okay, such and such is the thing, and therefore it's better for them to submit to God's will, because submission to the will of the world is always defeat, but submission to the will of God is always victory. One must remember that when you submit to the will of the world, then you are actually into a soup, because people will say that you lost your battles. But when you submit to the will of God, then the real victory is there. And by the way, let me tell you one more thing, that over here, this is one area where everybody is a winner, nobody is a loser. Everyone who submits to the will of God is a winner. So that is one more thing. And the other thing is that we must know that the people who are actually suffering, we must always regard them, because they are the people because of whom we have been put into a better position by God, and therefore we need to look after these people and take care of them and give them importance due. One more thing I want to tell you, that these people are not sinning when they are suffering. Why? Because when you are actually suffering, that is the time when you are not thinking about sin, and God is closest to you. It was in the Bible where when Daniel was put into the furnace that had heat 7 times higher, the Lord was with him in that condition, and therefore he survived. Whenever we are in such a condition, God is always there and He makes a difference, and that's the moment when we are most powerful. And we must all understand that all such people are chosen by God, and therefore they are very, very strong, very powerful, because what they are facing here, they are not going to face over there in this kingdom of heaven, because that there they will be having a blissful life, just like the example of Lazarus and the rich man, which you can read about from the Bible. So that is one area that needs introspection. Therefore, you need to ask yourself whether the perspective you have about sick people and the people who are vulnerable is right or wrong. Now, let me tell you one more thing that I want to discuss over here very quickly, is about the point which I raised, that man and woman, she was brought out of man. Woman, exactly the word woman means that she was brought out of man. So woman means brought out of man. That is why it is wo and man. So now when she was brought out of man, according to the Bible, God took out the rib of Adam, because I told you from the side his bride was to be brought out, and the heart is on the side, therefore a deep-rooted relationship was to be established. And then the second thing was that I talked about over here, that Adam's bride and Adam had to have not only a deep-rooted relationship, but they would have been people having 2 bodies and 1 soul. So many people over here would think whether that perspective is right or wrong. No, it is right in the sense that, you see, man is not complete without a woman, and neither a woman is complete without a man. So when these relationships get established in marriage, when they are bound, when they are united in marriage, that is the time when God accepts them as one soul. So if one of the husband or wife is close to the God and the other one is still lacking somewhere behind, he is accepted by the Lord just because they are considered to be one soul. There's a strong bond in marriage, and therefore we need to respect the institution of marriage. And very easily people break away, and they do not think that it is not right. We have to have a reasonable amount of tolerance, because only tolerance will build relationships, and intolerance will break relationships up. Therefore, you must understand that man and woman need to be blessed as one soul. So 2 bodies and 1 soul, which I was talking about, is actually referring to this aspect where a husband and wife get united and they are then blessed as 1 soul, so that they in that bond are complete and not incomplete. So I now, in this little bit of a fellowship that we had today, and I pray that all you people who have listened to this message would benefit from it, and it will change your perspective, and you change your perspective about love and affection, and you will be from here on thinking about binding yourself to be as 1 soul with your partners, and not try to break away. Have a reasonable amount of tolerance, and remember that that is the way God has created it to be, and that is the way it has to be. And when we break away from these sort of relationships, it's not a godly act that we do. Therefore, we are losing out on a lot of blessings, and therefore we need to really put in our efforts to build relationships up, and only after you are very, very sure about the relationship that you are falling for will meet all your ends, then only you get into such relationships and then stick to it. So may God bless you all. I'll catch you up again soon with more love and with more things about loving all people, as this is going to really take us ahead from this point where we all have got ourselves stuck into. Bye bye. God bless you all. Bye bye.